Good morning, you guys. I hope you are having a fantastic start to your day, or you had a good day at work, or whatever it is you're doing. You're probably off today. So if you are, I am so excited for you because, boy, them off days, nothing but sleep. But anyways, I would like to say for those of you who are new to the podcast, welcome to the Connect 0007 podcast, where human connection is everything. And I am your host, Thaddeus Sims, and this is going to be our 47th episode titled Liberation. And before we go any further, I have to share the fun fact with you. This one, okay, I guess I'll let y'all hear this because I don't know. I think this is more of maybe a more European thing than a USA thing, because I have not heard of this. But then again, I am ignorant on a lot of things, so I will not lie. But I never heard of this. Hell, I haven't heard any of even my European friends mention this to me. But anyways, the fun fact is the 29th of May is officially Put a Pillow on Your Fridge Day. Now, I could have left you with that, but why the hell, right? So this strange holiday spans back to the early 1900s, where families would place a piece of cloth in their larders. It's celebrated in Europe and the USA to bring luck and wealth to the household. I've heard of some interesting things, but I've never heard of that before. So if there are any of my friends or any people who listen to the podcast that actually celebrate this holiday, please leave a comment in the snippet video later on today, because I would love to know more about this. Like, if this is something people actually celebrate, like, is this a legit fact? Because I don't know, but I clicked on the link and apparently it is a thing. Like, I honestly had to Google. I was like, okay, what is a larder? And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, ew, that's what that is. But, you know, hey, you had to do what you had to do. So, yeah, guys, that is the fun fact. Interesting. Again, though, I'm for real. If there's anybody who listens to the podcast and their family celebrates this, like, let me know. Let me know. Put me on game. Now, moving on to the announcement. This is really quick. You already know. New shirts released. Check it out on the website. This one's about water. That's the element. So go ahead, check that out. Let me know what you think. Obviously, you will see the picture of it again on the website and on the social media platforms. So now we're going to dive right into this liberation. And for those, what the hell is liberation? Because I remember when I first heard that, I was like, what does that mean? But in a sense, it's just freedom. To be liberated, to be free of something. So going from that, how I want to start this off is we are all, in the same sense, we all want to be free or liberated from something, right? The problem is we don't know what our freedom is or how to liberate ourselves from whatever it is. Right now, a lot of people we can think of, oh, I'm tired of this, I don't want to do this or whatnot. I'm going to share my personal experience with you, and I feel like you can take this and do it in your own sense. I will say, because I'm the type I would like to share with you all that I know and have worked for me. And I've only came with 2 steps for this. And you will see how you'll be able to use this, because I don't want to give you anything that, you know what I mean, just made up. So how this actually podcast even came along is that I was meditating and there was a visual that came to me and it was just like, liberate the people. And I was like, I'm feeling this. Like, yes, I recently done something, which I'm about to share with you guys the experience, and it was liberating. And I want to talk about that because I feel like a lot of us want to be liberated from things, but we are not sure, what that even is or how to even do that. So I feel, hey, let me share it with you guys. So as all of you know, I've mentioned it in previous podcasts, even the one with Cena. where my experience of liberation had to do with my job. Now, to go further into that, as all of you know, now if you don't know, now you know, all of you know, I am currently not working a job. And what happened with that is I've known that for me personally, I knew I was just not meant to work for a person. I just knew it. Like I did things, whatever, but it always like bothered me. So this was like a suppression type thing. Like I would suppress it, go to work because it's all I knew. If you want, you want to thrive, you want to you want to enjoy the things you like, you better make some money, you make your own money and do it. You get your first job, you happy, you got your own money. But after a while, we quickly learn what comes with that job. Being on someone's schedule, having to go there, working these hours, not getting paid what you're worth, things like that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that work is horrible because, I feel like it's excellent to, have that experience. But for me, after learning a lot of things with business and learning things about myself and how I was feeling, it just wasn't for me. Now, again, my job was not horrible. I was working as a server at this amazing, condominium and awesome people. Actually, I believe a lot of people listen to this podcast are from the condominium that I worked in. So if you are, what's up? And I met amazing people. I learned so many things. I got a lot of tips, and not like financial tips, but I mean like a lot of tips with like life stuff and whatnot that has helped me out dramatically. So let me say that now, like it was not my job, but it was me. And so recently what happened there was that I was working and all of a sudden things kind of started to shift. I noticed that I think it was one Saturday, I was working by myself. It was busy. And I noticed like after I left, it was a long day. I noticed that I wasn't sure how I felt. And that's very weird for me. I'm very aware of myself. And I think 3 friends were asking me, how was your day? I was like, I honestly can't tell you. Like, oh no, yeah. How was your day? How are you? Sorry, that was a question. How are you? I was like, to be honest with you, I really don't know. And they're like, what does that mean? I'm like, I have no clue. But I'm like, I'm not mad. I was like, I honestly don't know. I'm like, I can't say it's a bad thing, but I really do not know how I am. And that's odd to me. And they were like, okay. I was like, yeah, but anyways, how are you? Changing the conversation, whatnot. So went home that day, did what I had to do. I woke up. I went to bed actually early. So for some of you, early is like 10:30ish for me. That's super early. So I went to bed super early so I can have energy for work. I woke up and I went to work, but something was just off. Like, I wasn't, it was like a mix of, I still didn't know how I was feeling, but I was physically, I wasn't tired. I was energized, went to work, and it kind of hit me where it was just like, I'm always fighting to keep a positive mental attitude here. And it was just kind of like, I was tired of doing it. And I'm not going to say I had a horrible attitude. I did not, but it was just like the thought was just like, I'm kind of tired of having to constantly fight to have a positive mental attitude here because I know that that's me trying to be positive and I know I'm not meant to just work for people, right? So I get to work. Sorry, I had to drink my water here. Throat's getting a little dry. So I get to work and one of the coworkers, he's a super cool guy. Again, I didn't ask him if I can share this because, hey, so I can't say his name. But he was a cool guy. And he basically just came up to me, he was like, hey, dude, like, are you okay? And I'm like, my head's cocked back. I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah. Like, because me and him don't really talk like on personal stuff. It's like, oh, other things. But we don't really talk about personal stuff. So I'm like, what? Okay. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm good. But then it kind of hit me. I was like, you know what? Like, be honest. Like, what is, so I was like, honestly, dude, I'm like, I'm fine. But I think what it is just like, I know I'm not meant to work for people. And it's just like, I think that's just what it is. Like, I have this positive attitude. I'm focusing on my podcast and that's what I want to do. But I think that's just what it is. And he's just like, he was like, yeah, he was talking to me and stuff like that. So that was number one. Second thing was that I was just like, okay, I was like trying to think. I was like, what is going on with me? Because I'm like, people don't really just come up and ask me if I'm okay. Like I'm usually, whatever's bothering you, leave the shit at home, work your job, positive mental attitude, because whatever's going on, they don't need to pay for it. Keep it moving. You know what I mean? Give them the best and go home. Right. So I was like, what the heck is going on with me? And I was like, I think I am emotionally drained. Right. Because I could not describe it. I was like, I think I'm emotionally drained. So a good friend of mine, he's awesome. Again, I didn't ask his name, so I won't say it. But he came in and he was just like, I was talking and he was like, dude, like, you seem off. Like, you seem different. And I was like, what? I'm like, what is going on? There's two people at the same day at my job telling me that I'm off. I'm like, okay, no. But me and him are cool. So I was like, dude, honestly, I think I'm emotionally tired. Like, I don't know what it is. So that was the second one. Things happen to me in 3. Now, I go and I'm serving and whatnot. I'm serving a big table. Awesome family. Love them. And I was just kind of like not really with it. But the service was great. Don't get me wrong. And I just felt weird. And that's when I had to tell my manager, I was like, hey, I need 10 minutes. And he was like, okay, all right, cool. So I'm like, all right, yeah, just need 10 minutes, dude, to myself, whatnot. So I go in the billiards room. No one's ever in there. So it was perfect. And I just meditated. And the visual that came to me in my meditation was kind of like my heart is like usually represented as like a fire. And so when it was showing me what I recognized as my heart. And it was like my heart's like fire just went out. Like it just like someone threw water on the motherfucker. And it was just like there. And I knew what that meant. I was like, my heart's not in it. And immediately I knew I'm going to have to quit my job. And I didn't think that it was going to be that day. And I was just like, no. I was like, no, I can't. I was like, not today. I was like, I'm like, bro, I got bills to pay. You know what I mean? I can't just be doing that, blah, 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 blah. And so, I go and I'm trying to go back to work. I was like, oh crap. So I try to go back into work. And next thing you know, I started feeling this pressure, this crazy built up pressure in my chest. And I've never felt that before. And immediately it was just like, I knew everything. It was almost like this survival thing. Like, you need to go right now. And it was just like, I could not ignore this feeling. And it was just like building up. And I was like, no, man, I can push through this. And next thing you know, I felt like this, almost kind of like this adrenaline, kind of like something was being lit on fire, like in my chest. And I knew that was bad. That was like, okay, no, I need to go. So, it was super, super busy. And I really feel bad, but I had to leave the coworker by herself. Like, I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, but I have to go. I cannot stay here, because if I stay here, I'm going to explode. And that is not what people deserve. You know what I mean? Because no one did anything to piss me off. And I left that day, called a friend, told him what was going on, blah, blah, blah. He helped me through it. And I was like, okay, let me meditate again, make sure. Meditated, my heart, I was like, okay, my heart was just like, yeah, man, you gotta be, you done with the job. You can't work no more. I was just like, okay. Told my friend, he was like, make sure, double check. I did meditated again. And my heart was just like, y'all know, I gotta cuss. I'm gonna just tell you what happened to me in meditation. I meditated and I was like, heart, are you sure? Is this a phase? Did we have an episode today? Like, did you have an episode today? Like, do we need to talk about this? And my heart's like, no, big, should we quitting? That's what that is. And I was like, oh, okay. So I had to like, oh, okay. I never quit a job before. So I'm like, how the hell do I quit? Like, I'm like, I can't go back to work because everything is screaming in me to not go. Like, I cannot go. It's not no, it's like, it feels like I'm going to die type survival thing. Like, my body, everything is telling me, no, don't go. I'm like, okay. So long story short on that part, figured out how to do it, sent a message, blah, blah, blah. Did that, right? So in the sense, I became free of working a job, right? Now, so yes, I was liberated from that because I always knew I wasn't. I'm just like, I'm not meant to work a job. But let me explain this freedom to you, because a lot of people think, oh, freedom is all good and dandy. But let me be real with you. This is what we have. This is what we have, with the podcast. So we get to being free, and what came with that is like, okay, I'm free from the job, and I'm just like, okay, now what? Do I go to another, apply for another job? And I'm praying, meditating and whatnot. And, the source, whatnot have you, you understand God, whatnot, was basically just like, yeah, nah, fam, like we not about that right now. It's like, oh, okay. So what came with this liberation was, you need to define your freedom. Now, this was a whole process. I didn't even know that's define my dream. I didn't even know that was the goal. I thought, okay, I'm going to focus on my podcast, because I always hear that people say when they have to quit a job, that's when things kind of, that was the thing that escalated them to move forward, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, I think this is what's happening to me. I kind of knew this was going to happen. I guess I'm going to do this. And lots of reflection later and lots of time to get used to this. It was just like, okay, what came to me is that I was doing my podcast and was just like, okay, and you'll see how all this comes together, guys. I'm taking you on a little adventure here. What came here with this was, all right, where am I taking my podcast? Now that I'm not working my job, like we really need to have some serious thoughts here. Where am I taking my podcast at? And I meditated, and it became clear. And as it became clear, there was a dream of mine. It's a very huge dream. If you heard the last episode before this, that was a special, and it was about dreams. If you haven't heard that, I highly recommend you check that out if you're going through some things when it comes to dreams. And I had to. It was showing me, basically. I'm gonna make this meditation super short. Basically, was showing me a dream that I had, and I threw it away because of fear, because it was too intimidating, and it was just way too much for me at the time. Way too much pressure. It was just not helping my health out, right? So I was just like, okay, whatever. But it was basically saying, this is where your podcast is heading to. Now it's just like, oh my gosh, like, bro, that's too much. I don't think I can do that. And this, that, and the other. Finally went through my whole episode with that, talked to another good friend about that. They helped me work through it. I decided, okay, this is where I'm supposed to do, learn, and discover that this is the things that are going to help me do this, defined it, whatnot. Now, this is where the steps come in, the 2 steps that I was talking about, right? Now, backtrack. My thing was that I really wanted to be free of my job, right? I really wanted to be liberated from it. Now, in that, there was a whole process, which I just shared with you guys so you can kind of get the backdrop. In so doing it, I was free, and I didn't really know, okay, what it is that I wanted to do with this. I just knew I wanted to be free. So I had to discover, okay, I needed to find my dream and see where everything is heading to. So I would say the prerequisite that I want to say to you guys is that when you want to be liberated or something, kind of know where you're going, right? Kind of have an idea. And if you don't, this is the step 1. Gain clarity. That is the biggest and hugest step when it comes to liberation. You want to gain clarity. Now, what is that? What does that mean? It's not, oh, let me just get clear. And it's like, you have to write things down, reflect, and again, you want to start getting really clear. But I'm really going to hone in on this writing down part, because if half of you guys are like me, you probably like, okay, I hear this, write your stuff down, write your goals down, write your dreams down, and it'll come true, blah, 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 blah. And it's kind of like, I ain't trying to hear that. That's for the birds. You know what I mean? I don't got time to be sitting down and doing all of that. But no, for real though, for someone who was there, I really had to get off of my phone because my phone was distracting. And I really had to sit down, not type it. I really had to sit down and write things down because it was just like, okay, now the dream of mine, again, it was very huge, and it still is huge. But I talked to a friend, and she was saying, break it down into bite-sized pieces. I had to get really clear on it because a lot of people, just to give you an example, you guys may say, for me, it was my dream. For something other than that, you guys may say, all right, well, I don't want to work no more. Okay. What do you want to do? Well, I always wanted to be an artist. Okay. You need to get clear on that. Like, you can say an artist. What type of artist do you want to be? Like, oh, well, like if you don't really know off the bat, that's kind of like, you need to sit down, write these things down and get clear on it. You need to reflect on these things. Now, just to really hone this in for you guys, let's just say the person says, I want to be an artist. Okay, well, what type of artist? Do you want to paint? Do you want a sound artist? Like, what type of artist? What works for you? You need to figure out what works for you. Okay, let's just say I want to be a painter. All right. Do you have the materials? Where are you trying to take this? What are you trying to do? What are the steps that you're trying to, like, you really need to get clear, like break this stuff down, like super, super simple. So if the person says, I just want to be a painter. Okay. What type of painting, what type of art stuff do you have the paint? Do you have the materials? Do you know how much the materials are going to cost? Okay. Do you know where you want your paintings to be? Are you trying to sell your paintings? Do you want to be hired as something? Like, what do you want to do with this? And you really want to get clear. And once you get clear, you can start to reflect. Is this really what I want to do? Does this feel right with me? Is this like where I'm heading towards? Like, you'll start to see, okay, some things have probably led you to do that. And other things may have been like, yeah, nah, you ain't supposed to do that, homeboy, homegirl. You really want to make it super clear in your mind what it is that you want to do, so you have a direction and you know what it takes to get there. Because like I said, a lot of us, we want to be free, but the problem is that we don't know what our freedom is, or we don't know how to liberate ourselves. A lot of us may say they want to do this, but you really need to know what steps are into this before you can just jump into that. So that's the problem. When you don't know, you're kind of frozen. So you really can't be free. It's kind of like, let's just say you were shackled to something and you say, man, I really want to be an artist. It's like, okay, that's what you want to be, but you need to figure out, all right, where's the key to take off the shackles? You know what I mean? Okay, you took off the shackles. Okay, where are you gonna go? Is it north? Is it east, south, west? Is it in the ocean? Do you have to climb something? You really need to get clear. And that's really the biggest thing. And I want to say, for me, just to, bring this back so y'all can see what that looks like. Someone who's not just telling you this and this is just some type of life coach, YouTube, motivational bullshit. This is like some real deal shit. So what that means is, like, so for me, I really had to take days, not a moment. I had to take days and really break down this dream. I really had to see, okay, I've been saying I want this, but what the hell does that even mean to me? I had to sit down and say, okay, I need this down here. I need this many people. I need this type of person. I need to find this individual. I need this set here. And break it down, have notes, gather it, like really get it clear to where you want to get it so clear to, if a person, imagine that you had a group of people who, who basically provided you the opportunity that you need for whatever it is that you want. So most of the time, a lot of things may be money based, right? You may want to do something and get paid for it, right? Let's just say for that artist, they want to, they want to paint. Now, the artist, let's just say you want to have things so clear to where a person may say, hey, I would love to pay you to, paint in a room for my museum that I am building. How much are your services? What type of paintwork do you do? You know, you want to think like outside the box like that, to the point where when these opportunities come, you are ready. You are clear. You can tell them simple. You won't be like, oh, well, I just kind of like to paint. You lost an opportunity. So you want to get that clear to where if someone asks you what it is related to whatever you want to be liberated from, God damn it, if it's something as simple as a goddamn car that you want, get very clear. The mileage, how much, you know, the gas, the color. Get very clear and reflect on that. The reflecting part is very huge. You really want to reflect, okay, hey, does this feel right? Is this in alignment with what I'm doing? Am I kind of having doubts on that? Am I shaky on that? Is this something that somebody told me? Or is this something from me? You know, you really have to reflect. And once you get things solid and clear within your own spirit and temple, then you go for it. Again, you want to get very, very clear. I said that part, right? Y'all get that. Now, make sure no intuition. Because usually I'll be trying to go to the next step in my intuition, try to like throw stuff in my head. No? All right. Next step is the action. Is you want to start taking action on what came to you, right? So I want to talk about this part here because this part is a bit interesting for me, where when I had to take the action steps, there were certain actions that really didn't make sense to me logically, but when I did them, it made the biggest difference. So some of you guys in your process of really getting clear and taking steps, you're going to come to roadblocks. I'm going to tell you that now. You're going to come to mental blocks. You're going to come to periods where you're really not sure. You're going to be frustrated. I'm going to be real with you. You know, you may not really know, and that's okay at the moment. There's going to be those moments you have hiccups. You're going to get annoyed. And in those moments, really listen to what comes to you. You may have a small little like inkling of, I probably should go out for a walk, or I probably should call this friend, or I probably should, goddamn it, watch this show or this YouTube video. I'm telling you guys, pay attention to what comes to you. It may be outside the box and you may think that does not make no sense, but I'm telling you guys, just take the action steps. So what I will tell you is like this. So for me is I've been getting clear on things, and certain things I will literally, a question will come to me while I'm, getting clear, and I really don't know the answer. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know the answer to this. I don't know what to do. What the heck am I going to do about this? And what do? Something's like, you should probably go out on a walk. Like just stop everything you're doing, take a break, and go out on a walk. Mind you this, before I was not one to exercise when I was working. I really was not. So I was like, okay, let me go on these walks. Let me go on for whatever. I went out for this walk, and a lot of things would start coming to me. Ideas would come. I would meet a random person. They'll come. I will hear a random song. I will see the cloud covering the moon a certain way, and that triggers a memory, which triggers a thought, which triggers ideas. It's just weird. And I will sometimes go out, and as I'm walking, I notice a building, and it's like, wait, I was trying to think of this so huge. I can make it, look like this, and I'd get ideas. So what I'm saying is, when you get certain things, like certain stuff that comes to you, take the action to do it. Now, everybody's thing is going to be different once they get clarity on it. But once you do get that clarity on something, take the proper action step. Do not wait. Do not say, oh, I'm going to do this later. If your ass can do it now, do it now. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if you don't do it now, you're basically keeping the door open for distractions to come. And I would tell you that's not a really good feeling when you're doing that. So I'm going to just tell you now, just do it. And if you say, oh, well, I get lazy, it's okay. You can have those moments, but I'm going to tell it to you like this. I'm going to be real with you. If you really wanted to be liberated, you're going to do it right then and there. But if you want to play games and stay shackled up, restricted, limited, by all means, if that works for you and your soul, go ahead and do that. But for those who want to be liberated, take those action steps. It's very important. Now, this is another thing that comes with the action steps. A lot of people say, oh, do action, but you have to have the faith. Your faith will keep you going. And I would tell you, when you become liberated with a lot of things, that's really where those faith muscles really come in, because a lot of people love the idea of freedom, but they don't love all the aspects when it comes with freedom. Because with a lot of freedom, there is not really a lot of security maybe that you once had. So you have to, be completely different. I like to look at freedom in a visual sense of, when you're kind of shackled, you're used to walking. You're used to the land. You're used to running. But when it comes to freedom, now you have to learn how to fly. You have to learn how to, once you fly, you have to learn how to stay up in the air, how to soar, how to all of that. You completely different person. You got to learn how to do all of that, right? And that faith is what's going to keep you up. That faith is like the wind beneath your wings. It's going to keep you up, because there's going to be some moments where you're like, I have no idea where I'm going, what I'm doing, how this is going to come about. But I know if I just do this one thing that's coming to me, let me get clear. I'm having a feeling I probably need to call this one friend that I haven't talked to in 3 years. Who knows? You talk to that friend in 3 years, like, hey, man, you popped in my mind. I want to check up on you. How you been? Boom. That person is like the connection to whatever the hell that you're doing. I'm telling you, things just work like that. You have to have the faith. And the reason why I say have the faith, because I'm going to be very, very real with you. I don't think I've heard any videos or people talk about this when it comes to liberation is fear. Because, you have the fear in the beginning, but when you are in the process of, like, after you're liberated, your fear is going to be closer to you than ever. So literally, it's going to be like right there beside you. Like, damn it, like you're wearing it as a shirt. It will be right there. And you want to conquer, that fear with action and faith, because you'll need to do it. So as a person who has been, liberated from his job and whatnot, there is lots of faith that I have to have, because I'm like, okay, I have bills to pay. I have other things that come to mind. I don't have the stability where it was just like, I have a check coming in every week. So it's like, okay, what the heck is going on? What am I going to do? But it's that faith. It's that, taking those actions. It's getting clear. It's having a plan. It's knowing where you're going to go. It's being able to be clear and set in your own mind, spirit, soul, whatnot. And you take the action steps to do it. You have faith in those action steps, and things start to come together. And as you continue to do that, you start to become clear. You start to see how this is going to come together. You're going to have to do things differently. You may have been taught, do this, and if you save up enough or do this enough, you're going to get this. But you may have to learn that maybe that way is not going to work for you. Maybe there's a different way for yourself. But requiring for you to do that, you have to liberate yourself. So that, guys, is really the 2 steps that I can share with you at the moment when it comes to liberation. If there's further steps that come, about as we, progress, I will definitely share that with you. But for now, those are the 2 steps that I would say that's going to probably take you the longest to do, is the clarity and the action steps. And once you do that, guys, it will really change the game. But just be aware. There is faith that you're going to need, and there is fear that's going to be there, and you will have maybe a daily battle of which one are you going to give into, the fear or the faith. And for some of you guys who probably are kind of like, and when it comes to that word faith, just look at it as like, the belief in something before you see it, if you want to do it that way. Because I remember when I first heard that word, I was like, I ain't with that whole faith stuff. I just assumed it was like a church word. I was like, I ain't even about the church. So I had to, cure my ignorance on that. But that's my message to you guys, this episode that I wanted to share with you, because again, being someone who sees a lot of my friends, close friends who, in a sense, they want to be free and liberated of many different things. They don't really know how to do it. They don't really know the steps. They're not really clear. So in a sense, they're kind of like in this frozen space. What's the word I'm looking for? There's a space for this. I really can't think of the name right now. I really want to think of the name. It's like when you're between a different space, not a medium. Anyways, it's just like you're kind of frozen. You don't really know, kind of what you want, but you're not really clear on how to do it. So I've been aware of that. And someone who was in that position and now in the, okay, I got liberated. I wanted to share with you guys that step and what to be aware of when you do it. And when you do start to do it, you already know the game. So the exercise that I'm going to leave with you this week is pick one thing you want to be free on or free from, and really sit down and write it out to gain clarity on whatever it is. So whatever that one thing is, sit that ass down, have your favorite bottled water, and because I don't want y'all to be under the influence, have your favorite bottled water and really just sit down and ask yourself, what is it that I want to be liberated on, really? And then write it down and really break it down, be super clear. And remember, I always have that thought in the back of your head. If there's a bunch of people outside your door willing to share an opportunity to help you get there, are you prepared for it? And if not, get clarity. Because once you get clarity, you'll be prepared. You'll know what you're looking for. And when those people come to you, you'll be able to recognize that and say, this is exactly what I need. And boom, get things happening. Just trying to save y'all some steps. So with that being said, you guys, have a fantastic Tuesday. And again, leave some comments. I would love to hear your thoughts on this episode. If there are some things that you're struggling to liberate from, I would love to see what are your things. 'Cause I know I talk about work a lot. I do talk about other different things, but I feel like work is the most relatable one. So I try to work on that. But if there's some other things, guys, please feel free. Leave some comments either on Podbean on here, or if you follow me on the social media accounts, definitely when you see me post this episode, leave some comments. Let's talk about this. So with that being said, guys, you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will be speaking with you Friday. All right, later.